Hello to all energy sector critical information infrastructures and their respective cybersecurity officers. How would you like to meet compliance to the Department of Energy's circular number DC-2025-01-0001, known as Institutionalizing the Energy Sector, Cybersecurity and Cyber Resilience Framework, and meet compliance way ahead of April 30th, 2026? Dumatech, the sole distributor of Otbase by Langner for the Philippines, is rolling out this asset inventory solution to eliminate today's cybersecurity officer's nightmare caused by this new DOE standard. With Otbase, no need for consultants and no 6-month projects to figure things out. Basically, no more doing what everyone seems to be doing right now, scrambling for compliance. Our self-scaling and systematic approach are to just plug Otbase in, then watch assets appear, then end up maintaining a contextualized asset inventory that has everything needed to complete the necessary assessment form, plus the resilient scorecard needed for proper audit report submission to the DOE and always ready for submission to meet compliance. The CII is required to appoint a cybersecurity officer hired or designated to ensure the required cybersecurity assessment form, or CAF, plus the Cybersecurity Resilient Scorecard, or CRS, are complete and always ready for submission if ever the DOE requests for it. The CAF plus the CRS completes the audit report needed to be submitted for compliance. Unfortunately, in many cases, Filipino OT teams are trying to use stacks of visibility solutions that don't deliver legacy assets needed for proven OT security and meet compliance to the DOE circular. Today, threat detection platforms are being sold to Filipinos as if they are full asset inventory solutions when they can't be, because their main focus is threat detection having to use passive network monitoring that is always on. And passive network monitoring is being presented as if it provides full coverage, when it can't because it's blind to no traffic. And hybrid approaches are being offered as a quick solution, as if merging two methods somehow make better to efficiently produce the upcoming 2026 DOE compliance reports, or better, the strength of OT's security. A lot of dashboards are popping up, full of unknowns, inconsistencies, and conditional data that looks believable, but again won't meet the reporting requirements imposed by the DOE, especially with all the legacy assets in place, and will easily leave a cybersecurity officer challenged against a brick wall, not making the cut. So don't be a victim. Understand that many jobs may be at risk soon for not being able to meet compliance starting 2026 due to insufficient tools, so really check out Otbase as soon as possible if you are not familiar. Something to think about that happened recently too is in the 2024 Integrated and SEC 17A reports, entities all reported that they are still working on compliance, and their biggest challenge is discovering their legacy assets to complete their inventory. Otbase does fairly well and better than others in discovering legacy assets. And you don't need to turn anything off to discover them, and no downtime or reboots are necessary. This is the no-brainer way to have a more holistic asset inventory for resilient OT security and how to meet compliance to this law. In any case, many have already been trying to use threat detection solutions like Clarity, Nozomi, Dragos, and even Armis for quite some time already, and still working with the vendors. Isn't this saying they are falling short? For Otbase, though, it wakes up assets difficult to discover, and it is by far the only application that lays a foundation to build a resilient OT security solution that will have all the necessary metadata needed to complete all the demands of the DOE audit report and totally be spot on. It will hold the info for CAF, plus the info needed for the CRS, to have the complete audit report at any time of the day. Critical information infrastructures will be crazy to pass up Otbase when it is complementary and not competitive, and when this enforceable framework is already in effect. Otbase for asset inventory plus Intrusion Shield for threat detection is offered by Dumatech as its so-called power pack for CIIs in the event they are not using any of the TDS giants like Dragos or Nozomi, to name a couple. The CAF plus the CRS equals the audit report for the DOE circular, but to complete the form and scorecard, lots of metadata is needed that includes, but is not limited to, all legacy assets, and all hardware assets that covers every device, every server and workstation, as well as all network equipment. Plus, OT devices like PLCs, RTUs, IEDs, DCS components, relays, controllers, sensors, actuators, right down to make, model, serial number, physical location, geolocation, if applicable. Also, all software assets, operating systems, applications, firmware versions, patches installed, licenses. Plus network topology, connections, segments, air-gapped parts, data flows, protocols used, and criticality classification, like which assets are crown jewels, which are safety-related, or business critical. Ownership and accountability too. Who's responsible for each asset? And configuration details, baseline settings, backplanes, I/O modules, engineering data. Even vulnerability status such as known CVEs or end of life or end of support items. And dependencies, physical, logical, power, communication dependencies between assets. Understand that not being able to report all legacy assets means no compliance. It's a good thing Otbase is designed to be used on production sites, so no reboots or downtime needed when using Otbase, and no sensors even. And the DOE wants inventory maintained in real time, updated continuously, and ready for audits, reporting, and a proof of integration into one's risk management and incident response plans. This is the exact system that is present when Otbase is cohesively integrated in a CII's daily operations. This is where Otbase shines, because it is the only solution that can do all this holistically, effectively, and efficiently, and using anything else will be like nailing Jell-O to a tree. Security, safety, and savings. Otbase boosts homeland security because it's designed to eliminate an operation's blind spots and has a tight approach for managing vulnerabilities and prioritizing them. Obsolescence and audit management are also addressed in Otbase, the two that many teams are trying to figure out how to do. It becomes a holistic asset inventory contextualized with metadata pertinent to OTAM and a resilient OT security frame. For safety, all asset information necessary for resilient security is at fingertip reach with Otbase, eliminating the need to go through difficult and unsafe areas just to get or verify asset information. And for savings, it eliminates ghost and rogue devices forever, forgotten assets that averagely account for 40 to 60% of acceptable waste like flared gas or stack losses. Basically, Otbase should be able to turn this waste into profit through brining out forgotten assets that can cause major losses. A 1.5 to 2% of generation lost can equate to billions of pesos and is no small loss each year. So, gaining visibility on legacy assets as soon as possible should substantially decrease the acceptable waste for production in a very short time. So do it with Otbase. So use Otbase so there will be no more guessing and get more done sitting at your station, seeing everything really happening on your operation floor, knowing every challenge, every alert, every good standing device condition is real. And know everything about every single asset through a contextualized asset inventory, having holistic visibility for comprehensive OT asset management and resilient OT security, keeping the operations up and running. Maintaining availability is the aim. Use Otbase for the foundation of your asset management and security and produce your Philippine DOE audit reports anytime or immediately upon request. Otbase makes the designated cybersecurity officer's nightmare go away. Thank you for watching. Please email Jerry Dumatal at jerry@dumatech.com and connect with him for Otbase.